There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Britton's Hangout Hour episode 62. Can't believe we've made it this far. It's ridiculous. I am here today with Darko, also known as Kindle and Kicks. You may recognize him because we actually had a conversation about Kindred a few weeks ago, which was a lot of
Did.
fun. And then this man puts out a video about Kindred that ends up blowing up. I was just like, man, now they're just gonna think I'm capitalizing on the success here. It's gonna be ridiculous. But anyway, Darko's a great guy. He's quickly become a friend of the channel. How are you doing today, sir?
Man, I'm doing great, Britton. Always happy to chat with you, man. And yeah, that Kindred video, I was just as shocked as you were when
Yeah, I
all the
know. I was like,
attention
oh man,
came.
that was good. It was a good video. Though it was a good video, and it's kind of funny how I mentioned this in the Kindred video, but he was just like, hey, I heard you said you were gonna try Kindred. I'm gonna start Kindred soon. Do you just want to read it together? And I'm like, yeah. So,
Yeah,
and there we
it
go.
worked out really well.
It worked out well, yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Um, yeah, you also recommended Malice for my recent What's Big Fuss. Or I think it was you who recommended Malice.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Um, yeah, I need to get on that. But so you have a YouTube channel called Kindles and Kicks, which is a fun
I
little
do.
name because Kindle you read off of, and you like sneakers. I'm guessing you like
Man,
footwear.
yeah. Yeah, I love sneakers, man. Always have since I was a little boy. My mother bought me my first pair of Jordans that I can remember when I was like 3. And I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm more of a t-shirt guy. They had
Yeah.
yeah.
And you have a lot of cool t-shirts. I've noticed that. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
I like
know.
t-shirts myself.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
wearing my OU t-shirt today, but I have a Cowboys t-shirt, I have a bunch of superhero t-shirts, so yeah. I
Oh
see you
yeah.
got Batman back there. I think that or well, I see Batman up on your wall.
Yeah, that's a giant pop vinyl Batman, and then the Lego cowl. That was like the first Lego set I ever put together in my adulthood. So I found it at Target. Yeah, I'm a huge Batman fan. He's probably my favorite superhero, at least in DC.
It's probably mine as well. Him and Spider-Man are tied for my favorite superhero of all time, which I know it's
Man,
probably
yeah,
considered basic by a lot of people, but what can I say? They're great.
yeah. No, I love Spider-Man too. He was my favorite. He was my favorite Marvel when I was growing up, and but then later on, like I started to really like Iceman. So he's like my favorite now.
Oh yeah, from the X-Men.
Yep. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Bobby Drake.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, he's
remember him
cool.
from the Fox movies from the early 2000s. That was
Yeah. Yeah.
I've heard he's gay now in X-Men comics, which, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's kind of funny
I
how they just like make characters gay at random, but I'm cool. I'm down for it.
Yeah, it's
No, but I
interesting. It's interesting how that all works. But you started a booktube channel called Kindles and Kicks, which is kind of growing up there. We're about at the like I have like maybe like I think our subscription difference is like it's not very far from each other.
yeah, yo, when I it's funny because when I first got to 100, I was like blown away. I didn't expect to even get like 20 subscribers in the first month. I was just excited to get a few views and comments, but when I reached 100, I was just really surprised, and it's been a great experience. I mean, the booktube community is so warm and welcoming. I was really surprised actually, because I've never been a active member. I've been an observer and a content consumer, but to move to the creative side has been a learning experience, but it's been very rewarding and to get to know you and other booktubers. It's been great, and I'm glad that people overall have provided good feedback on the channel.
Yeah, you got some good videos on there. You've covered a couple things on your channel. The one I'm remembering for some reason is the excuse me Well, aside from the Kindred video, I remember you did a book about one of the guys. I think he founded Nike or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Phil Knight. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, Phil Knight. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was it was one of my favorite memoirs or autobiographies.
No, I think the
Yeah.
first video I saw from you was the was like your favorite books of like 2023.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was the first video I think I uploaded. Yeah, that was before BookTube newbie tag and like all that. Yeah, yeah, it sure was. I just kind of turned the camera on and figured it was the beginning of January and everyone was putting that up, so I figured I'd go for it. And it was a kind of a good exercise. I didn't realize exactly all that I read in 2023, so it was kind of cool to go through a recap.
Yeah, I remember you had some interesting picks on there. I think you had Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which next month I'm going to be reading. So that should be
Oh,
fun.
cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Susanna Clark. She's becoming a favorite of mine.
And
I look forward
you read
to.
Paranacy this last month? How do you
Yeah,
enjoy
I
it?
sure did. Man, yeah, I love Pregnancy. And I'm glad I went into it not knowing much about it as was recommended by everybody because I was really impressed and kind of blown away. I mean, I love Susanna Clark's writing style anyway, but like the kind of ethereal quality of it, Piranesi, and you kind of mystery, fantasy, sci-fi. I mean, she is really genre bending that book, and I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yes, I
And yeah,
remember when I read it last November, if I remember right. You can go look at one of
hmm
my past what I reads if you want to, because or
yeah,
AKA my reading wrap up videos. I just don't call them that for whatever reason.
no, yeah,
Um,
and
Good stuff. Good books. Or
it
it
is,
was. I
and
thought it was a good book. I did record a conversation with Colin from Colin's Corner, but my audio got weird, so I had to. I was still figuring out how to work it with my new microphone, so yeah, that didn't pan out. So we're gonna reschedule that at some point. I don't
oh
know when
man,
we're.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he had some
and it's
interesting theories about Piranesi. I'm like, man, I hope you remember
oh
that when we do it
wow,
next time.
yeah, now I'm interested.
But
Yeah, and in fact, yeah, it is because I'm working on my top list of favorite black characters and books, and Matthew Sorensen is definitely going to be one of them.
oh
Um,
wait, is he black? Oh,
yeah, yeah, he's half black. Like his father is Ghanaian. In the book.
mm,
Yeah.
that's right.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, like yeah, he's definitely made the list.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm always. I think a kind of underappreciated fantasy novel, at least in my humble opinion. Even though it did win some awards, so in the like literary community, I guess it's not very underrated. But I thought Black Leopard Red Wolf was great. Personally
Oh, and
speak, thought that was a
I
fantastic book. I'm gonna read Moon Witch Spider King this summer, and I am just thrilled. I can't wait to read
I,
it.
oh, I haven't read those.
Um, yeah, it's really good. Not for the faint of heart, of course, because
Okay.
it's told in a interesting style, and also there's a lot of trigger warnings for anyone who may take
Okay.
on the. Yeah, he did not hold back on violent and sexual matters. So,
Okay.
um, but yeah, no. I thought it was a great book, though. I'm looking forward to Moonwood. Hopefully, it will be as good. I'm really like that.
Yeah. No, you have some good taste in books, and especially the books that I wouldn't even consider checking out. Or maybe somebody I never even heard of, which is what I appreciate about your channel, is that you don't cover like all the like I don't know any other booktuber like you really that covers such esoteric literature at times, um, which is great for me because sometimes you want to look for something different.
Yeah, that's kind of why I decided to finally kind of get this channel up and running again. Cause like I had started this channel a while back, and I was kind of at a good roll, but most of those videos I really don't like. They're just I need to put them on private. But anyway, I mean, you can still find them. You just have to scroll down from all my like. Then I kind of just started doing podcasting stuff, and
Hmm.
then finally one day, my friend Jason was like, "Why don't you just start your channel again?" And I'm like, "Eh." And then I finally, Brian Lee Durfee, God bless
Hmm.
that man, or well, whatever you believe, or
Yeah.
whoever bless that
Yeah.
man.
No,
To
yeah,
those
definitely.
whoever you believe in, what karma, whatever, but
Hmm.
like if he can sit up on his camera on his little phone just bullshitting about books for like 20 minutes, you know what, I have no excuse whatsoever. So yeah, I started the channel, and it's been
Dude, I
high
said the
rolling, and
same.
it's been really, I I'll I'm not at that part where I want to take a break yet, though I'll admit it's been a bit tougher since school's been going around, and also my computer is like, hey, we're gonna make this upload for like 2 hours. I'm like, oh, this is great. So
Oh man. Yeah, no, Brian Lee Durfee. Yeah, he was an inspiration of mine as well when I first saw him because I mean I love his approach to book reviews. He just like throws his camera up. He doesn't edit or anything. He's like he'll even make fun of himself. Oh, I'll edit that out later, and he doesn't.
like, oh, I'll edit it out later. Now he's like,
Yeah.
this is the premier TV program.
Yes,
Like,
yes, and yeah, he's awesome. In fact, he was actually the first subscriber to my channel.
oh wow, really? That's
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah, because he made a Facebook post encouraging people to start booktube channels. Like, you should go for it. And I was like, well, I just started one. Maybe check it out. And he's like the first subscriber, and he commented on my first video, so that was huge.
yeah. I've been wanting to check out his fantasy stuff. I just haven't because let me tell you, a lot of other books I'm hoping to read at some point.
Yeah,
So I
and I
know
have
my
read.
friend John Minton is reading his trilogy right now. Though apparently it was supposed to be 5 books, but publisher wanted it to be 3.
Yeah,
Don't know why,
and
but oh well.
I don't know why either. And from what I've heard, like I've only read the first two, and then I've waited too
Oh
long, and
yeah, yeah,
now
yeah. That's right. Did you like
yeah,
them? Were they good?
yeah, they're good. I especially like the second one. I thought the second one I thought was great. I tried to get into the third one, but I read it I tried to read it so long after, and my brain is like a sieve, and so I forgot so much now. So I have to like reread them. But the great thing about them is they're pretty quick reads, even though they're large books. They're not overly complicated.
Well, that's good.
So, yeah, yeah, but there's a lot of characters and a lot going on. But no, but Brian Lee Durfee, no, he's a great to me. He's a great writer. You can clearly tell he reads a lot. Um, he's not as detailed as Robert Jordan. He's kind of like that. He's like in between George R. R. Martin and Robert Jordan. He can go with the details, but I like details in stories. Like you mentioned, I think you mentioned in your light review, you like to hallucinate
Yeah.
while you're reading. Yeah,
Well, it's something my
I'm the
friend
same way.
Josh said, but I thought it was funny. So it's just
Yeah,
I like visualizing it. So yeah, I hear what you
yeah,
I hear you.
yeah.
Um,
I do too. Excuse me.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. We were gonna do this last week, but you got hit with the Rona. Stupid
Oh, I
Rona
know, man.
striking people
Stupid
down.
Rona. Yes.
Stupid health.
Yes.
Stupid
Right.
health.
And this is the first year I
Have to
didn't
take
get
a
vaccinated.
nosedive, or like right
I
now.
know. Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. And
Oh my god, it's all right. We
especially,
can we can wait. Just have to switch some stuff around.
yeah, I was going to like push through and I was like, no, I'm still sick. But now I feel a lot better now, thankfully.
So well, you cover fantasy a lot, as a lot of people do on BookTube. I also cover fantasy, when I feel
Hmm.
like it, and also there's some great stuff out there. Like well, I like the First Law a lot, and I like well, in terms of the popular stuff, I like First Law and Gentlemen Bastards. I mean, Liza Locklemore was my favorite book of last year, so it was a good time.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah. No, I haven't read the third book in Gentleman Bastards. I have read the first two and
Oh boy,
enjoyed them both tremendously. Especially the second one, I actually like more than the first one. Um, Maybe because of
Yeah,
the
no,
ships
second one
involved.
was fun.
Mm.
Both of them are really
Yeah,
good, but like for some reason,
yeah,
I said this to a friend of mine the other day. I'm like, you know, that book, Lies Locklemore, I'm talking about here. It was just so satisfying for me, you know,
yeah,
just watching them tear down the Falconer and the Grey King and just utterly destroying them was immensely satisfying to me.
yeah. It
Spoilers,
was.
by the
Yeah, it's
way.
like a no. It's like an ultimate triumph. No, I agree, and I'm looking forward because I there's some rumblings that Scott Lynch is like ready to get. He's back in his writing seat now. So
Yeah, he
you
said
know,
he took some new author photos, so yeah, I'm hoping that he comes
mm,
back, and I'm hoping that if he does decide to put out, I think it's the Thorn of Imberlane,
hmm
don't know.
yeah, hmm
Hopefully, it won't be as meh as Republic of Thieves was. I made a video on that.
yeah. I saw that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's why I
Jimmy, and
have
I
never read it.
guess it was kind of funny because like I have like God, I'm like you and I are like at the same like subscriber rate, right? But like
Hmm
I've rubbed shoulders with some YouTubers, right? Like I'm a fan
Yeah,
of like
big ones.
Jimmy and Joanna. For some, I name dropped them in my Republic of Thieves video, not expecting at all that they would notice. They pop into my comments section and go like, "Hey, I had some issues with it. Hey, watch it." And I had to send Joanna a tweet or a direct message on Twitter later. I'm like, "Hey, I wasn't trying to insult you or anything. I was just saying I was just talking out my mouth." And she's like, "It's okay." And I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, you were just ranting. I mean, yeah, but that's crazy. I know it's huge when you like other like booktubers you watch and admire, like comment on your videos.
Especially Jimmy.
Especially
I'm like, "I miss your
yeah.
videos, Jimmy." And he's like, "I'm making a lot of videos right now." I'm like,
Yeah.
man.
uh, Man, that's huge. Yeah. I mean, his subscriber count is ridiculous. So, and I mean, you had Bookborn on your channel. I mean, that was
I
for me.
did.
That was crazy. I
That
was like,
took
wow.
that took a while to put together because I contacted
Yeah.
her in like, oh man, what was it, like November? And she's like, "Hey, how about you hit me up next year?" And I'm like, and I'm like, okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
I did some other episodes, and I'm like, okay, it's January when you want to do it. And she's like, "I'll do it right, or I'll do it in this time." And I'm like, all right. And then I'll admit, Darko, I said this when I responded to you in my comment, but I was shocked that she talked this long to me as she did. I thought
No.
like she would like give me an hour out of like pity or something and be like, okay, I gotta go. Zach wants me for something. And I'm like, and I would have been like, oh, that's fine. I'm glad we got this. But yeah, no, it went well.
No, it did. Yeah, she seemed and she was really enjoying herself and really engaged. No, that was it was an awesome interview. It was great. And and kudos to you, for being persistent and being well prepared.
Yeah, I keep trying to get Tori on my podcast, and she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, damn it. And I see her like popping up on like other channels, and I'm like, damn, you know.
Yeah, come on, Tori. Like you were on like Brian's channel. Come on, mine.
No, it's
Yeah.
all right. I get she's a busy woman. Um,
No, she is, and she's writing and I said now I need to read her books. I've not read Tori's books
I
yet.
am
I need to
hoping to
read
read
those.
Phased in October because I'm a
Okay.
I'm a big fan of werewolves. And
Cool.
every time
Okay.
she brings up every time she brings up Phased, I put in all caps more werewolves, so she'll know.
Yeah, I love werewolves too. Yeah. So
Um, we need more quality werewolf media. So I'm always,
yeah, we do. Yeah, Twilight didn't do him justice. So
oh man, don't even get me started on that. Oh, oh,
yeah.
everyone was like, oh no, the vampires. I'm like, dude, werewolves. Oh,
Yeah, I was definitely Team Jacob when during the hype. I read those books and everything. They were very quick reads, so which was a good thing. But yeah, the writing
Yeah, it
wasn't the
was.
best.
eh, like it's kind of like Hunger Games or something. Like they're not
Right.
great, but like they didn't offend me.
No, no. But Twilight, the crazy thing is that I think it was the first book series I read where I actually liked the movies more than the
Like
books.
I wasn't offended by like their badness, like something like Divergent or something like Divergent. That really made me mad. But
Really? Oh, yeah, I've read that too. Oh man, it's been a while. Yeah,
yeah,
it
I
was
was.
pretty. I mean, that was the topic du jour of the time is the post-apocalyptic teenage battles and to the death. That was like the thing. So I guess
Yeah,
Divergent tried their best.
it's definitely it's a series. I won't go too deep into it because
Yeah.
I don't really want to. Be honest with you, I don't wanna. You know,
No, yeah, bad memories. I get it.
it's or Batman and Robin. It's like I don't know how old you were when that came out. Though, funnily enough, I kind of like I don't like I know it's not a good film, but
Hmm.
I kind of enjoy myself with watching it. It's so
Yeah.
stupid.
Oh man, Batman. I was probably, but I came out. You weren't even born yet. I don't think when I came out.
I wasn't around yet
Yeah,
when that
no,
came
yeah,
out.
because I was like a teenager. Yeah, when that came out, and say I had fun with it because I was a kid, so I wasn't a movie critic at the time, but I haven't watched it since I've been an adult, so I'm not sure what I would think about it now. I've watched like the original Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson since I've been an adult, and I still love it as much as I did when I was like 4 or 5, when it came out. But yeah, having Batman and Robin or like Mr. One with Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I haven't watched those since I've been grown up.
Oh man, I was talking to one of my friends the other day about Dark Knight because it's my
Oh
favorite
yeah,
superhero movie of all time. At least right now.
yeah.
It could always change, but it hasn't changed in the last 2018. Almost 16 years now, I think. I could be wrong.
Probably
Uh
my favorite. Yeah, that whole series, Nolan series, is probably my favorite trio of superhero films.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I've been I haven't really been paying much attention to movies because booktube's my thing, and I mean I try to be fluid on this channel, but I've been feeling that like books have been the thing right now, so that's what I'm doing. Well, been
yeah,
my
I
thing
get
right
that.
now.
Although I want to watch Dune 2, because and so many people on BookTube are talking about it because of
Yeah,
Dune.
I put up a Dune video the other day
Oh
as of the
really? I didn't
recording
see
of
that
this.
one.
Um,
Oh cool.
yeah, it was yeah, it was interest or well, it's an interesting book. I don't love it, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite reads last year. Um, and I enjoyed it. I liked it quite a bit. And it was my second attempt at it. And I think I had watching Mike talk about it. I went in and had like a better appreciation for it because of all it inspired. And so I think I enjoyed it a lot more than the first time when I tried to read it.
Yeah, maybe that'll happen for me, but I was kind of like, but
Yeah, yeah,
I've
no, I get it.
I'm 21st century baby. I mean, come on, what do you want us to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when I see like people who weren't born when I was in high school are grown up. That's crazy to me now. Now I see how my parents felt or their friends like, oh man, I remember when you were a baby and now you're grown, and so now I'm saying the same thing.
So, like, what are some of your favorite like fantasy or even books in general? But you predominantly cover fantasy, so I guess I'll ask you about fantasy first.
um, well, Harry Potter is my favorite of all time.
I do love me some Harry Potter. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because that was my introduction, and I got into it quite by accident because I was in the library, and the librarians always help me find new books to read. And he was like, "Hey," I was like, I think when Harry Potter hit, I was probably like 13 or something like that. And he's like, "Hey, there's this new book that's pretty good, and a lot of young kids are reading." And he said clearly he said Harry Potter and Sorcerer's Stone, but I thought he said the Sword in the Stone, right?
Oh.
So I thought it was some King Arthur book. So, but when I went home and I was like, this isn't King Arthur. Like, what is okay? But I read it anyway, and I really enjoyed it. But I didn't read any more of the books till a few years later when they started making the films. And then I went back and I got into it, and I was like, wow, these are really, really good. I was older then to better appreciate them and realized how they mature. And I've probably read them at least like a dozen times.
Yeah,
So,
I enjoyed them. I saw recently you put a short on your channel that you got like a Harry Potter clock.
oh yeah, yeah, for my
That's
birthday.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great. Because my excuse me, my husband he collects clocks. He's a huge clock collector,
Mm.
and I've always wanted one, but wasn't sure what to get, and so he got me that for my birthday and hung it up on the wall, and it's a great addition. I enjoy looking at it, especially since it's of Hogwarts, and which when I was growing up I wished I attended.
um, yeah, a lot of kids did. I can tell you that.
Yeah, do you know what sorting house you be in?
Well, it's
What
always
house?
it's always a mixture of Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff more often.
Yeah, I can see you in either one. Yeah, I was always Slytherin.
Yeah, it was hilarious. So it was funny you mentioned Bookborn. We were kind of talking about that in our podcast episode, and I'm like, man, Hufflepuff gets like man, Gryffindor and Slytherin gets all the attention. What's Hufflepuff known for? Luna and
Yeah,
that guy who got murdered in book four, like
yeah,
Cedric, isn't
Cedric
it?
Diggory. Yeah, that's it.
I'm like,
Which
ah,
is crazy.
the
And
disrespect.
I mean, I'm hoping with the new series they're creating for Harry Potter, they're like go deeper into Hufflepuff, and even Ravenclaw, and like
We
because
got Luna
they're supposed
though,
to
or
be.
what? Wasn't Luna in Hufflepuff? I think she was.
Um, but you're probably right. I think.
I,
I
I
think
could be wrong. I don't know.
you know. But yeah,
Um,
so with the new show, that's supposed to run for 10 years. There's a lot to explore there.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, I do like the movies, though there are bits I
Yeah.
mean, of course they do cut out some stuff. I'm like, "Aw." Like Prisoners of Azkaban, I was really sad that we didn't get the origin of the Marauders map in that movie, but oh well.
Yeah, yeah, but they still did a great job. Like the first two movies were probably pretty much book to film translations, like
Yeah.
literally. Yeah, but then yeah, because they got on like Goblet of Fire was the worst to me. Like they cut out
Yeah,
a
it's
lot.
easily the weakest.
Yeah, which is my favorite book out of the series.
Also,
And
Half
but yeah,
Blood Prince wasn't the greatest adaptation
no,
either.
because they cut out because they had some dark stuff in Half Blood Prince in the book that they did not explore, specifically with Voldemort's history. They did not explore in the movies, and I guess they had an audience of children, so I guess they wanted to be careful and keep it PG.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
it was. Yeah, though, Deathly Hallow movies I thought were great.
they were very well done. I'm glad they
The pacing
split it
was
into two
pretty
films.
good, and like
Yeah,
they were good movies.
yeah, and the actors I grew up to me phenomenal. Actors
Though
and they
hilariously, Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite book and film of the Harry Potter. I don't know. I just like the Prisoner of Azkaban a lot.
That's a popular one.
Also, Marauder's
Yeah.
map. I love that. Like, I
Yeah.
want
I wish
that.
that.
I want it.
Yeah. I had to do a
I would have
video at one
stolen it from
time.
Harry. I've been like, give me that.
No, I love. Yeah, no, I agree, and I have to do a video one day from work because like my office space has like a Marauders wrap like on my cabinet. I have like a Marauders map covering the cabinet. It's kind of a cool background. Like my whole office area is like Harry Pottered out. Um,
Like at your work or like at your house?
Yeah, yeah, at work, like at work, at my
Oh,
actual
okay.
job. I work next to two graphic guys, and one day a few years ago we were all bored and like printed out a bunch of stuff to decorate our cubes. And mine is all Harry Potter, and like the next one is Star Wars, and another guy's is Fallout. So it's pretty cool.
I'm actually looking forward to that Fallout show. It actually
Oh
looks
yeah, me
pretty
too.
good.
It does.
Now I'll
It
admit
does.
I'm a little back and forth on the games. I've only though then again I've only played New Vegas and which I love. It's one of my favorite games ever.
Yeah.
And 4, which I thought was fine.
I couldn't get into the games. I guess I'm not a fan of the like pretty much like perpetual exploration of land. I guess
That's fair.
it
I
was
mean,
different.
it definitely
Yeah,
has its downsides. I didn't love getting attacked by everyone. Getting
yeah,
every like thing wanted to like guys. I just want to explore. Calm down.
yeah, yeah. But I think it's an awesome concept because I tried to get into Elder Scrolls, could not really get into it because I actually fell asleep one day playing Elder Scrolls, which is the first time I ever fell asleep on a video game. Yeah. So, but I
Yeah,
guess
I remember loving Skyrim a lot. I had to mod it though,
mm,
so make it more enjoyable for myself. But it was a fun
okay.
time. Though of course I'll admit it's not one I enjoy because of the story. Oh my gosh.
No, no. But I mean, I look forward to. I always give them a try though, just to see, what they've changed, and
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
always
hear you. I
impressed.
hear you.
Yeah, yeah. So so I do like video games, from time to time when I'm in the mood.
But you like Harry Potter? Going back to that.
Yes,
Um,
love Harry Potter, and any of my friends know it. Like, yeah, that's my number one. I need to do a top. I've not done a top 10 series, so I need to do one eventually. But I like science fiction as well. Um, but yeah, need to read more. I think I commented that on your video. If I could pick any sci-fi series that's my favorite, probably the Robot series by Isaac Asimov.
I
Yeah.
do like that's one of the Asimovs I like is the well, at least the short story collection I Robot. I like that a lot.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, I like the short story collection. I liked all the books except I haven't read Caves of Steel because at the time it wasn't available. I don't know if it is now. It was never available for as a digital copy. You have to find a hard copy. So I've never been able to read it.
Yeah, I know you like Dandelion Dynasty, which I've seen
Um,
a lot of YouTubers go like, "Oh man, this is the thing," and I'm like, "I'll try it." I don't, I'm always I'll admit a few years ago I was trying to do a speculative fiction by non-white authors. I mean, as much as there's a lot of great speculative fiction from white authors,
right.
I'll admit I didn't get very far. I read like The Only Good Indians and Black Leopard, Red Wolf, which as I mentioned
Okay.
earlier, great.
Yeah.
And Only Good Indians, which I liked a lot. And
Okay.
then COVID happened, and I got really,
Um,
really depressed. That wasn't fun.
oh
So
man.
that derailed that, but hopefully I can continue that at some point. I might add Dandelion Dynasty to that list.
Yeah, I'm loving it. It's a huge series. I mean, for 4 books, it's a lot. I think it's one of the only series where I feel it could actually be competitive against like Game of Thrones as a TV show if adapted correctly. Like I think it would be
At least he
awesome.
finished it, didn't he
If
finish
it,
it?
yeah, he finished it, so it's only 4 books. But but they're chunkers though. I mean, the first book is like maybe 600, but the second is like 9, and then the one I'm reading now, the third is like over 1,000. So they're chunkers.
Yeah, I've noticed. I've seen some of them at my local bookshop, and I'm like, wow, that's that's
Yeah,
commitment.
yeah, yes, and then there,
also
and
want to
it's a lot of
try
characters.
I also want to try the Jade books by
Yeah, I
by
want to try
Fond
those too.
by Fondling.
Yeah,
I saw Tori was talking to her the other day.
I know that was wild. Like I know,
That's the best way to.
I
I like. I'm like, that was about my reaction. I'm like, wow, she's talking to Fonda Lee. That's crazy.
yeah, yeah. I can only imagine how Tori was feeling at that moment.
Oh, knowing her, I
But
bet
yeah, I
she
want to
was
read
just
those.
squeeing.
Yeah, yeah. They've been on my TBR for a couple of years now because I think me and you may be like the only booktubers who have not read that series. Like everyone has read
Yeah, it's like
that,
Lonesome
and
Dove.
everyone
Like
has.
everyone and their grandma is
I
like, check it
know.
out.
Yeah,
I'm like,
Lonesome,
dude.
like those. Yeah, and not only have read Lonesome Dove, but it's like number one or at least in the top five of everybody's book
I
list.
think
And
it's
I'm like,
Brian Lee
yeah,
Durfee's favorite book, if I remember right.
yeah, it is, and I think Mike's too. From I think it's his favorite book of all time, or one of
Oh, I thought
them.
that
And
was
then I think
Dune, but I
Matt.
could be wrong.
Oh yeah, maybe it's Dude. Maybe you're right. It was some one other person. I think Matt. He said it's one of his now. Although he didn't like. No one really likes the sequel, so.
Yeah, I'm actually going to read Lonesome Dove this summer. It's over there. I don't want to pull it out right now, but yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be. I do my summer reads where I basically just get a bunch of books that I hope to get to during the summer. I don't get to all of them, but
Okay.
but
Yeah, I'll have to read
Lonesome
that
Dove is
this year.
high on that list. So good.
Yeah, I want to read that this year too. Um, hey, maybe another buddy read.
Yeah.
But
I was, I was about to say you mentioned finally. I'm like, man, maybe we should buddy read that
oh,
together.
that would be cool. Yeah,
do
yeah.
uh do
Because
um do the
I mean, it sounds awesome. Like
also
I
it's a
mean,
trilogy, so I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely pick. It's not like Wheel of Time where it's like this huge commitment, and
yeah,
or Malazan too, and that's another one. Everyone and their grandma and their like great grandmas like check out Malazan. I'm like, dude, it's 10,
yeah.
10 books.
10 books. Yeah, I look forward to starting that this month. The
Oh
Grind of the
yeah,
Moon. Yeah.
yeah. I saw Brian Brian Bell. God bless that man. He's just like, hey guys, what book do you want me to read?
Yeah.
Malazan just wins by a landslide. I'm like, oh man, I'm. Oh, I actually had him on here, about a month ago,
Yeah, I watched
and
that. I was
and
impressed. Like, yeah, he's had quite a
yeah, he's had a
career.
life.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was kind of sad he had
yeah,
to like because he had told me he's like, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to talk for like an hour, and I'm like, oh, that's fine. And then he started like going like, I don't think we talked about books a little bit, but we mostly just talked about his crazy life experiences.
yeah.
I'm
I
like,
mean, I was
dude,
like,
you write a
that's what
book
I'm.
about that, man.
Yeah, and then to know Prince, I'm like, man, like that in itself, like, is just wow. Like, if I come on an interview, just say I know Prince, the interview is over. Like, that's
Yeah.
like how many people can say that? Like,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was funny. I told him my aunt really loves Prince, and I think it was either not long after I upload or after I recorded it or after I uploaded it, she came over and I told her like I was talking to Brian and she didn't know who Brian was, but she's that's another one. Like my buddy John Minton had this happen to him. Like he's one of those guys. I knew him before he blew up. I was his 100th subscriber. So ha.
Oh, really?
But yeah, no, he's one of my favorite people on this platform. I enjoy hanging
Man,
out with him.
yeah.
But yeah,
I love his
he's one of
enthusiasm.
those guys who just blew up, and you're like, how? But also his
Yeah,
videos are
he
really
did.
well put together, so that's probably helped.
Yeah, and I just like his enthusiasm about all the like. He never has anything bad to say about books. Like I just love his enthusiasm and how he just like everything is such a great read, and he's always so positive and uplifting. I love his weekly reader every Sunday. Like it like makes my day. It's
Also,
like
get
the
shot with
perfect.
Nerf darts. I mean, that's
Yeah,
pretty hardcore.
yeah, yeah,
It's very
yeah.
hardcore.
Him and his son are great. I mean, I love that relationship. That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him on. Well, I had him on my channel. I'm like, we hung out
Mm,
and we hit it. We became pretty good friends, and we're still pretty good friends. And now I'm reading What Moves the Dead, and I actually just bought this today again as of the recording of this. What Feasts at Night. So I'm hoping to get to
oh,
that
cool.
soon. What Moves the
Oh,
Dead
that's
was
right.
pretty good, but
Okay.
I like Edgar Allan Poe, so I was down for it.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with him. I look forward. Are you guys going to do a chat about it?
Yep, we're gonna. Well, as far as I'm aware, we're doing one on my channel and one on his. We got a little thing
Okay.
planned, and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. I actually think he said that during one of his.
I'm like, I
I
got a
don't
little
know.
got a little
Yeah.
thing. He's
Yeah.
like,
But
hey,
he's
can
a.
you want to do it next week? I'm like, oh yeah, and then I thought, oh yeah, I have a bunch of podcasts next week. Crap,
Yeah.
So that wasn't fun.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, I'm
And
hoping
he's
we
a quick
can.
reader.
Oh my
So.
gosh. I think you think I'm a fast. I think I'm a pretty fast reader. He just blows
Yeah.
through it like it's gone out of style. I'm just like, dude,
Yeah.
like
No
literally,
joke.
I'm not kidding. I'm like, hey man, I'm starting What Moves the Dead. He's like, oh, I just finished it last night. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like,
Yeah,
no.
he
And
read it in
then,
like a day. Like,
I'm like, he's like, hey, I just finished what Feast at Night. I'm like, dude,
oh my
this
gosh,
buddy read is
yeah.
not going. We are not on sync here. So
Oh my god.
he's a great guy
Yeah.
though. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah,
And he's
no.
a Cowboys fan I found out recently, so that's cool.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He also loves the Spurs. I'm not a
Yeah.
basketball guy, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from Oklahoma City, so we got the Thunder. I'm good to go.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I used to be a huge basketball fan. Like back in the day when Shaq was playing and Penny Hardaway, you had guys like Tracy McGrady, which is before your time, but
I
that
do
was
remember
like I was a huge
Shaq.
Magic. Yeah. I was a huge Magic fan. Yeah, I'm more into football though than basketball.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm more of a
Yeah.
football guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, Cowboys, and again, I guess the Packers are just looked on by God or something because we should not have lost that game, and we did, and we lost badly, and I just had to deal with it again.
It always happens. I don't understand. Cowboys is one of those teams I just don't understand. Um, they have like we always
Surprised
have
you're
like
not a
the
Ravens fan. Aren't you from Baltimore? Or
no, I am from Maryland, but the funny thing is like where I grew up is it borders Washington D.C.
mm,
So where I live, majority of people consider themselves like Washingtonians. So they're like
oh
Redskins fans. They're huge Redskins fans. Commanders now.
oh,
So
I bet they
yeah.
loved it when you decided to become a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, like that was the main reason I became a Cowboys fan to be adversarial, pretty much. So
That's funny. That is funny.
yeah, it's like okay, you all go left, I'm gonna go right, and so been Cowboys ever since Emmett Smith and Troy Aikman days, which is also
Yeah,
yeah
I'm
yeah
always thinking when I watch the Cowboys now, I'm like, man, I missed out because like when they were in the
you
'90s,
did
like I heard they
man
were unstoppable.
yeah you had the triplets there was Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, and Michael Irving. They were unstoppable back then. But yeah, they're a long way from that.
I mean, our team now is pretty good, but like,
Yeah,
yeah, I've actually
not
been to
great.
the Jerry Dome. It's
Oh, really?
it's fun. It's a fun place.
I heard it was spectacular. A friend of mine went a few years ago. Actually, he got me a souvenir and said it was like unlike anything he'd ever seen in any stadium anyway he had ever seen. I mean, I think at one point it was the most expensive football stadium in America. I don't know if it still is, but
I wouldn't be shocked if it was.
yeah, because it was like $1 billion to build. It was something crazy. Um,
Get
but
like a
Jerry
pod
Jones,
called like fantasy and football, and it's like two guys talking about fantasy novels and football.
right?
Yeah, I don't
That would
know.
be awesome.
I don't know how that would work because like
Oh,
I mean, there's Quidditch and Harry Potter, but I don't know a lot of other sports. They don't really focus on that. It's more like fighting and magic and stuff.
that's true. That's a good point. You need more fantasy sports.
Yeah, we need more
Yeah,
fantasy sports.
yeah, yeah. J.K. Rowling was on to something with that. Yeah.
Though I'm sure
Oh,
there's other. Oh my God. Or well, maybe there's like I mean, there's games like in The Witcher. There's Gwent, which is basically like a card game.
Oh yeah, how could I forget about that? Yeah, I guess because I never really played it while playing The Witcher.
Yeah, I don't.
Um,
I don't know how to play. I played The
no, I
Witcher
don't.
3. I did not play
Yeah,
Gwent,
The Witcher 3. Yeah.
and I did not want to learn how to play.
Me neither. I had no desire. Yeah, I just
Um,
wanted to go on quests.
yeah, no, yes, I enjoy the fantasy genre a lot, which is like, and also I'm like, oh, there's a market here. Maybe I can get some people to watch this, covering fantasy and maybe some other books that aren't as well known.
No, and I think it's good to highlight, authors and books that aren't as well known. Mm.
Because I don't, or well, it's interesting. I started a show, well, as you know, because you've seen it, but called "What's the Big Fuss." I'll
Right.
admit I was trying to kind of broaden my horizons a little bit with the fan base, see what they
Yeah.
would think of "What's the Big Fuss," and I got Fourth Wing, so that was fun.
Oh man, I saw you. You couldn't even finish it.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm like, I'm not continuing. Malice I haven't even started yet, but
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure you'll be able to finish Malice because at least it's like it's fantasy.
yeah, it
medieval
seems more up my
fantasy.
alley in terms of what I like in fantasy. So
Yeah, and I've read it, and I want to revisit the series because John Gwynn, he's one of those authors that I really want to like because I think he's such a great guy. But I just like Malice just didn't do it for me. But it's also the first book, and like to be honest, a lot of series, the first book is the weakest. So
yeah,
I want to revisit.
I like
Yeah.
I like the blade itself though. I'll admit
Well, yeah,
I was
yeah,
kind of hesitant to try the first law for a while, and then I just picked it up one day at my local bookshop, and then it's like 2022, and then one day I'm like, you know what? Why not? I'm just gonna pick it up and read it, and I was hooked.
yeah. When I first read the first law, I was I was hooked the moment Glockta came on the page. I was like,
Yeah,
I
it's
love this
great.
guy.
It's great.
Yeah, yeah.
I
He
know.
is.
I'm like, guys, I'm a little basic. I just love Galacta. I love that man.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
do.
why I love that man. I
I love that
shouldn't.
he was one of the first characters that made me die laughing while reading a book. Like he
Yeah,
is.
he just
Yeah.
doesn't care anymore.
He doesn't.
It's like, look, I got tortured. All right, there's
Yeah,
nothing left to scare me with.
not at all. Yeah, give me your best. So
Yeah, I remember there's a part where Pharaoh breaks into his house. I think it's Last Argument of Kings, and she threatens
okay.
to start torturing him, and he basically is just like, "Go ahead, like I don't care anymore."
Yeah, I live in perpetual pain. So
It's like if you killed me, you would be doing me a favor right now.
yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I have to read the. I've only read the original trilogy. I have to read the. What was it? I think it's 9 books altogether. And the first
Yeah,
law
I
of
mean
war.
I was
Yeah.
taking a break from Joe. I read Best Served Cold, but I'm like, eh.
Hmm.
After that, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a break now. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna chill, have a good
Yeah. He's
time.
good.
Gonna read some other
He's great.
books.
No. Speaking of that genre, grim dark like Joe Abercrombie. I know he's like the considered the king, but Mark Lawrence was like the first grim dark author I'd ever read. Um.
Yeah, I haven't read his books yet. I had an interesting
Yeah.
encounter with him once on Facebook, but aside from that, maybe I'll
Okay.
try him. I don't know. My buddy Jason loves his. Um, oh damn it, what's it called? It's
Is
that
it the Prince of Thorn?
the Prince of
Or
Thorns. Yeah, he really
yeah.
likes that series for some reason.
Yeah, I like it. Well, it's been probably about 10 years since I read it. But I liked it as well. But it was also pretty novel for me at the time. The first thing on the page, a woman is getting brutally raped by a bunch of guys. Okay, this is
Oh,
interesting. Yeah,
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 I know. I mean, I'm not someone who gets offended very easily or anything like that. But
yeah,
I'll put it this way: I don't enjoy reading about women getting violently assaulted in that way.
yeah. Yeah, Mark Lawrence pulls no punches with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Um.
it won't like turn me from the book. Like, oh man, I'm done. But like, well, I
Yeah.
mean, won't do that. But I'm not gonna enjoy it. I
No.
don't think it's
Yeah.
meant to
You
be.
won't.
But you know,
No, it's not. And I have read the book that wouldn't burn. That was to me a good read. Um. And I guess the second one, I think
heard Philip Chase really liked that one.
yeah. Man, in fact, he liked it so much. He said he wanted to read it immediately after finishing it, which is a high compliment. And he's a Mark Lawrence fan in general. So,
Yeah,
um,
I've talked to Philip Chase a couple times, and he's just a really nice dude. Hold on, I actually have his. Yep, here it is, Way of a Dan, which I'm hoping to
mm,
read. Hopefully, after I finish either The Crossing by Cormac McCarthy or Sharp's Tiger by Bernard Cornwell. So we'll see how that goes. But
Bernard Cornwell. Yeah, I've not read anything by him yet.
this is my first one from Cornwell,
Mm,
and I'm digging it so
okay.
far. Definitely, you could see if you read his books, you'll definitely see where Joe got much of his style from. That isn't George
Hmm.
R. R. Martin or
Okay.
Robert E. Howard.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and the Way of Your Dad. I do need to add that to my list because
Also,
I've heard
it's
nothing but good things about it.
I love the art on this.
Yeah, the cover is gorgeous.
I just oh man, I'm apparently it's pretty violent though, which is kind of shocking knowing Philip.
Really?
But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he's such a chill, even keel guy. I can't even picture him getting angry. you know.
yeah. I also Grimdark's interesting. I'm actually wanting to do a conversation about it with my friend Pem from Epic Tales. Um,
Oh yeah. Oh
about
man, shout out to
like
Epic Tales because
about
um
Grimdark
he's cool.
because like I'm like
Yeah.
what is this Grimdark thing? I want to know.
Mm,
And he's more of a Grimdark fan than I am. I mean, I like darker stuff, but I wouldn't call myself a Grimdark fan per se. Like I'm not
hmm.
slowly read. I'm not a connoisseur of the Grimdark. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, some people love it. Like that's all they read. Like Dan from Black and Blue Collar Reader, he's a big grim dark dude.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him streaming the other day. I'm like, Dan, you're back.
Yeah.
Because he's been like,
Yeah, I've gotten to know him recently. He's becoming like a really good friend as well. Um,
yeah, he's
real cool
good
guy.
people. He's good.
Yeah,
He's a
real
good
cool.
dude. It's
Real cool.
hilarious too. He's always like, man, I wish I could express myself, eloquently. I'm like, dude, just be yourself, man. I mean, if you just be
Man,
yourself, like you're being yourself, dude, like people are gonna love you. He
man, I
just has
felt
the
this.
personality.
What's crazy about that is I felt the same way, and then I saw Dan's channel. I was like, yo, this is the guy. Like, okay, he expressed himself very similar to me. I'm like, okay, like, because I also like I see you and like Philip Chase and like Raph, and I'm like, God, I wish I could like provide such,
Oh, trust me.
such
I wish I could
yeah,
express
such,
myself like Philip or Raph, but
yeah. I mean, the exegesis, they can provide for books is just it blows me away. But you're good at it as well. Like, I mean, when you write your reviews, I'm like, wow, I wish I could be as detailed and thoughtful in my approach to reviewing books. But like you said, just be yourself.
yeah, I find I find it's best to do that. I mean, I'll admit, like when you watch my YouTube channel, I mean, I have bullet points, but aside from that, what you get is mostly who I am in real life.
Yeah,
I'll probably be more
yeah.
quiet in real life because I'm like, I don't know, when it's like in a screen, like I feel better for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah,
It's
because
like,
you're very easy going on screen. And then,
I mean, people are like, man, you talk to like so many people. I'm like, I know. It's like I'm a bit more shy in real life. I don't know. I'm just weird. Though I've gotten
that's
better at it.
surprising. Yeah, because I would be like a nervous wreck, like when like interviewing Philip or Raph or Bookborn or like these Tory anybody, all these like booktubers who I watch, on a day to day basis and respect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an interesting yeah, it's interesting how it all works. Really, I mean, um, like I'll watch like John, and I'll watch or John Minton. And I'll watch like Tori. I'll be like, man.
Mm,
I'll be like, man,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'm always like that. I'm very hard on myself. So there you go.
I think that's all of us. You know, you're your own worst critic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. One time, my dad was reading something I had written, and he's like, "Well, son, don't worry, I'll be your harshest critic." And I'm like, "Dad, I'm my own
Yeah.
harshest critic. Stop it
Yeah.
right now." He's like, "All right, fine. I'll be your second harshest critic." I'm like, "You bastard."
Oh man, see that's great. Great to have an honest dad who tell you what he really thinks.
No, I mean
Does
he's
your
not
father?
like he's not like a when he's like watches something I do, or when he's not like he's not like a dick about it.
Oh yeah, of course not. No, like
He's
I hope
just
not.
like, okay, here's what I like, here's what whatever. It's
Did he? Does he read like fantasy or anything?
no, most of his it's kind of interesting. My parents aren't well. My mom kind of likes read like she read the Twilight books and other stuff like that. My dad really likes
Okay.
self help books and books
Okay.
about like business figures. Like he was reading a book about Bob is it
Oh yeah,
Iger? I
got
don't know.
you. Hmm.
But he was
Yeah.
reading his biography the other day. Like he likes this book called Atomic Habits, but like yeah, no,
Oh yeah, I've
yeah,
read that a couple years ago. Yeah.
I'm more of a reader than my parents are. It's kind of weird how that worked out, but there you
Yeah.
go.
Well, he should. Your father probably would like the Nike book, the Phil Knight book. He
Yeah,
probably
he probably might. He might.
would. Yeah.
He probably would.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Um,
But my mother, yeah, my mother's a reader, but she doesn't read fantasy. She likes autobiographies and memoirs more than anything, I believe.
hmm.
Yeah, especially of like black historical figures. She,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
like her thing.
I like reading. I haven't read a lot of nonfiction recently. I've been just kind of
Hmm.
like what last nonfiction book I think I read was Killers of the Flower Moon. I think
Okay.
yeah, which
Okay.
I thought was great. It was one of my favorite reads last year. But
Mm.
yeah, it was something. I uploaded a video talking about it on my before the movie came out, and like nobody watched it, and I was like, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. It's a nonfiction book.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hard sometimes to get that algorithm to pick your stuff up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But right now, I'm in the middle of reading Viola Davis's memoir.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like listening to it. Yeah, it's quite a harrowing tale so
Really?
far. I
Oh.
mean, she grew
I
up.
remember reading a blurb. I think she really liked Octavia Butler, if I remember right. I could
Oh,
be wrong.
cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we read Kindred
Yeah.
together, and I'm like, I don't know if you've had those authors that you kicked yourself because you hadn't tried yet. Butler's one of those authors for me. I'm like, man, why didn't I read her earlier?
Yeah.
This was great. I'm like,
Definitely
man.
Butler and yeah, and Guy Gaffer K is another one for me now after being turned on to a Song of Alban. Like he's another one I wish I would have read sooner because he has a lot out that I have to catch up on now. So, but yeah, I really like him. I think he has the potential to be one of my favorite authors. If I like any more of his stuff as much as I do, as much as I did a Song of Alban,
Yeah,
a song for
I've
Alban.
heard about K for years, even long before I came to BookTube.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's one of those like kind of big. Apparently, he also helped with like Tolkien, some of the Tolkien stuff. I don't know, but exactly
Hmm.
what it was. But yeah, I knew of him for a long time. I just haven't read him yet.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. I can see that. But yeah, he's an excellent writer. Prose is, and I just love good prose. I'm such a fan. And I guess, when I was started in college, I was an English major, and then I switched to communication. So, but I always appreciate someone who can write well.
Yeah, I used to not pay as much attention to prose until I started writing, and then I'm like, oh wow,
Mm,
wow, that's a brilliant expression of phrase or something like that. Um,
exactly. exactly.
Uh,
And it's not easy, you know.
oh no,
So when an
God.
author can do that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I read Sinlin of Sins recently. I thought the prose in
Oh,
that was
okay.
pretty well done.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it was good stuff. Um, yeah.
Are you gonna read the rest of them?
That was one of my series I was hoping to complete. I don't know if I'm gonna, I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but I'm going to read more
Yeah.
of them. I definitely will because I liked that first
Okay.
Sinlin arc, and also what was nice about the first one is that there is a bit of an arc going in the first book, so it isn't just a setup book for something else.
Oh,
Because
cool.
sometimes
Okay.
I'll admit there are some books where I read some fantasy where I read the first book and it just feels like a big prologue for what comes later.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I don't like that either.
So that was nice about Sinlin of Sins. But I liked it a lot. It was good. But
Yeah.
yeah. But I try to go for things that are more or well, I don't want to say unconventional. I don't want to sound too much like a hipster, but
Yeah.
um, I enjoy I enjoy I enjoy different stuff.
No, yeah, you do. And I think that's great because sometimes I think we can get too siloed
Which is why I
listening
think I
to.
hang out with Raph a lot. He's one of the few
Yeah.
people who like I'll be like, hey, I just read this like really obscure book. He's like, oh yeah, I've heard of it or I've read it, and I'm like, oh my god, man.
Yeah. He's impressive. Like anytime he's on screen, I'm just like he's one of the books who I can watch all day because he's just so eloquent and so knowledgeable about so many books. It's amazing.
Mm. Yeah, I know. I was. Yeah, I was given. I actually saw him on Match Channel the other day. So, because I like to go on. I like to go on his. Oh man, what are they called? Sunday pubs.
Oh, on Sunday Pub, yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
like
Matt.
that
Matt's a
too.
good guy too. He's really also another guy who's lived an interesting life. I mean, I talked to him on my pod, and he was sharing stories about some of his experiences.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no,
Wow. Okay.
which is why I started this show because I want to talk with interesting people who do interesting things. Like I talked with
Yeah.
Jordan from iWizard a while back, and I would not have suspected that he was a directionless mailman before he started his BookTube channel because just the way he speaks and how he carries himself, I thought he was reading his whole life. I was
Wow, that's
mistaken.
awesome, man. Like, yeah, you never know people's life stories. It's interesting, you know. Like especially on BookTube, like you never know the interesting lives people lead, and you get the opportunity to learn about that, which is really awesome.
I mean, I don't know much about your life. I don't know.
um, well, I had a pretty basic life until, well, one thing like that got me into reading is I've been very sickly my whole life, unfortunately, because I was born with kidney disease,
Ooh,
which, yeah. So, and it was a condition they didn't discover until I was 8 years old, which it was a preventable disease, but they didn't discover until I was
ouch.
8. Yeah, and it was too late by the time I was 8. And so I didn't been through dialysis. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, and like kidney failure, transplant, all that. And through everything, like, that's what really kept me, like, reading is what kept me sane through all this, like, to
Mm.
be able to kind of escape and kind of get out of my head for a while, like, I think, and honestly, like, it literally has saved my life because, like, when you endure health problems that are completely out of your control, it's difficult to kind of want to live anymore, honestly, sometimes. So, fantasy books are a great way to cope with that because this is not in my world. It's made up. It's imagination. So, and it's magical and anything's possible. So, it's a great way to kind of endure things sometimes. So, Yeah, that is what really gets me through my day to day. It's books, and I like people often like if you give up books or TV easily, because I would not be here if it wasn't for hey, Harry Potter and Wheel of Time and all the fantasy books. Even though I never finished Wheel of Time, but all the fantasy books I was able to read growing up.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. I mean, it was interesting. My journey to fantasy was an interesting one. I mean, we do like the fantastic when we're growing up, and there's people who kind of grow out of it, and then there's people who never really do. Like, I'm just one of those who just hasn't.
Me
Um,
neither.
um, but I really didn't seriously. Well, I always kind of enjoyed the fan. I mean, I always enjoyed like. Though I mean, H.G. Wells is sci-fi, I guess, kind of
Mm.
that old science fiction, like The Invisible Man,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
the Time Machine. Like I was always interested in that kind of stuff. So, but I wasn't until I was like in. And I always I always like Star Wars. So there you go. So I always had an interest in the fan, but I didn't really till like middle school. I didn't really discover Lord of the Rings till middle school, and then I finally was like, whoa, this is great. And then
Yeah. Lord of the Rings, it's interesting. I had no idea it was based on a book. Like when the films came out, I had no idea it was based on books.
mm.
And until my mother told me, of all people, she, I was like, yeah, how did you know that? She's like, well, they came out when I was like a little girl, maybe before, a little before, because her neighbor, the neighbor kid that she grew up next to, that's all he read like every day. So that's how she that's how she remembered it. And I had no idea because I love the movies, but I haven't read the books. I've tried to, but could not get past all the songs.
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah, Tolkien. I actually thought about making a response to Matt's video about Lord of the Rings, but I've kind of gone back and forth. I'm like, is it really worth it though? That's the that's the real question. But yeah, he's mentioned like, oh, it's kind of. I think people like it because it's old, and like, I'm like,
Yeah,
that kind
no,
of rubbed me the wrong way, but I won't get into that.
yeah,
But my
no,
point
Matt
I was
crack.
getting at
Yeah,
is I can see why people might not take to it
yeah,
in 2024 because,
yeah,
it does wander a bit. Tolkien loved nature
yes,
and old
yeah,
poetry.
yeah, yes, he did. But I do want to read it just to see what influenced all that I like now.
Oh, I mean,
And
I
yeah,
think it's brilliant. It's definitely a touchstone on which we stand,
yeah,
some people like to say. I mean, I won't pretend that Tolkien invented fantasy because he didn't. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
there's like the Odyssey and like the Iliad, and he took from like the Edda, which is I think Norse. Could be wrong.
okay,
I haven't, I'm not an expert on these things.
yeah, and
Um,
even the Bible in a lot of ways,
Bible, yeah,
yeah. So
depending on, there's a lot
these
of
epic
like,
tales,
I mean, there's some stuff that's like, you could definitely call it like sword and sorcery for sure.
right?
And Robert E. Howard was
Yeah,
before Tolkien as well. Um, but yeah, no, I can see why some people. Also, Game of Thrones was a very formative book series for me.
yeah, yeah. Harry Potter is my childhood. Game of Thrones or A Song of Ice and Fire is my adulthood. Like that's
Yeah,
what yeah introduced me to adult fantasy.
yeah. I mean, because like my knowledge of fantasy from before I read Game of Thrones was like the Magic Tree House, Lord of the
Mhm.
Rings, and Harry Potter. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I read The
Yeah,
Song of Ice and Fire. I'm like, oh my god,
yeah,
this is
same
crazy.
reaction. Yeah, same reaction.
I
That's
didn't know
still
fantasy
one of
could
my.
be written like this, guys. And everyone's like, yeah, we were
Yeah,
there like 1990s. Okay.
I know. Yeah, yeah. I discovered it right before the show aired. Like, when they were starting to talk about the trailers, and my coworker was like, "Well, that's a whole series, actually." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, you should check it out." And and I did, and I was like, "Wow, this is." I mean, I was blown away when, like, with Game of Thrones. Like, it's still probably one of my favorite fantasy books ever, just from my initial reaction from when the first time I read it. Like, I didn't react to a book like that since. I don't think that I can recall.
Yeah, then I met a guy on Goodreads named J.G. Keeley, who
Hmm.
I'm sure would probably piss off a lot of people on BookTube because he's a bit of a contrarian. But he also opened
Okay.
my, and I mean, I'll admit I don't agree with everything he says. For instance, we disagree on stuff like The Road and Lord of the Rings and
Mm.
Harry Potter, Song of Ice and Fire. He doesn't like
Oh
any of
wow.
those. Or, well,
Oh
Lord of the Rings,
man.
he's more like, it's complicated. Anyway, he also opened my door like, hey, Tolkien isn't just Tolkien. Here you go, kid. And I just jumped right in. So,
Hmm. That's
so
cool.
yeah, it's yeah, my fantasy journey's been interesting, but I do love the fantastic a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Me too. I'm trying to think of. I do love Patrick Rothfuss. I love the King Killer Chronicles. I
I
do.
haven't read those yet.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I first read the Name of the Wind, I didn't like it.
Oh
It
yeah.
was, and then I read it. It was one of those things where let me revisit it, like I want to do John Gwynne. I'm like, let me revisit it. And the second time I read it, I loved it. It was weird, and like, and Patrick Leo apparently, like I learned later, he had the exact same experience. Like when he first read Name of the Wind, he was like, I don't see what the big deal is. And then when he read it again,
Wait,
he
who?
like Patrick, the
Oh,
booktuber, yeah, Patrick Leo.
I've had similar experiences. I remember not loving. I love Ray Bradbury. I adore Ray Bradbury.
Yeah,
Fahrenheit
he's great. I mean,
451 didn't like make a huge effect on me when I first read it, but then I read it again when I was in high school, and it's grown on me over time, as I've said.
yeah,
That it's
that's a good one.
it's a great book
Yeah.
though. I do still love Something Wicked This Way Comes more, and also I really
hmm
like the Martian Chronicles a lot. But
Okay, I haven't read those though. Yeah, I have read Fahrenheit 451. I just, by the time I read it, I thought it was pretty prescient
oh
for
yes,
today's time. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
my favorite. I think I guess I was kind of annoyed, and I still am kind of annoyed that there's people who are like, "Oh, it's just about censorship," and I'm like, I think there's something deeper in there.
Mm.
Though it is,
No.
it is. I won't pretend it's not about censorship because it is, but there's more to it.
Yeah, but that was the theme that 1984. Those books. I mean, that was kind of the theme back then.
He's like,
That's
"This
a
is what
like
could happen." Yuck,
yeah.
yuck.
1984 was a book that I read,
That's
and
another book that changed my life.
I was so mad when I got to the end of that book because that has one of the most depressing endings of any book I've ever read. I was like, really, I was legitimately upset, but
Yeah, it's not a happy book.
no, it's not
Well, unless
at
you read the
all.
appendix, then maybe it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
But
possibly, but yeah, no, but that's a classic too. No, I did like 1984. I'm trying to think of other science fiction since because you seem to like a lot of classic sci-fi, which I don't see covered a lot on BookTube these days. It's more like Red
like Brave New
Rising and
World, which
yeah.
which my little hot take, even though I really love 1984 and I think it's a great book and I think everyone should go read it. I
hmm
think Brave New World is even more prescient than 1984.
Really, that's Aldous Huxley, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to
Um,
think of
I actually read it again in high school again because I
Okay,
was I was covering it for a class.
I
My
think I
teacher
did
who's
read
a
that.
my teacher who's a good
Yeah.
friend of mine was having us read it, and I'm like, oh, I'll read it again. So I don't remember if I borrowed it. I mean I own it, but like I don't remember if I
Hmm.
borrowed a copy. But I read it again, and I just really enjoyed that book a lot. That was
Hmm.
another that It's a great one. It's a great one.
I read it, but I cannot remember because it's been so long since I read it. Because it's the only Huxley book I've read.
Same here. Yeah, I haven't read
Yeah,
any of his other books. Maybe someday
yeah,
I'll dive more in. Well, actually,
yeah.
no, that's not true. I did read his philosophy book, The Doors of Perception, a long
Oh
time
wow.
ago.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that's about it. That one's really weird because like he got into like LSD, and
Oh my goodness.
there's some weird there's some weird stuff in that about like reality and yeah, it's not for the faint of heart.
I didn't know he had a philosophy book.
Yeah, he was like that whole family of people from what I've read, like they were pretty well known. Like there were scientists and um I mean he was an author, but you know.
Yeah. I would like to read. I mean, I might have to check that out. Gosh, there's a booktube, and I'm sorry, his name escapes me, and he talks about philosophy books, and he has like, and I have saved several of his videos because he has a list of like for beginners, you know, because I'm always been interested in philosophy. I think it's an interesting area of study. Um, but haven't read a lot of the books like outside of like Plato's theory of forms, which like
Oh
was
yeah, and
um,
William Blake.
which
I read a lot of him, who I would also consider
mm,
fantasy, even though it's poetry. And I don't read a lot of poetry. I like listening to it though. When you got like
yeah.
someone like Jake Phillips from the Cultured Bumpkin. When he does readings, I like that, but I don't know. I just have a weird time reading poetry. Well, unless it's William Blake, I've because he also illustrated his own stuff, and it's great.
Oh, really?
He
Okay.
was another guy who's out there. We're all like, what?
Uh,
But
that's yeah. Poetry. I do like listening to it more. Excuse me. Plus, and like back in the day, I used to do spoken word, so I really love poetry a lot. But yeah, definitely seeing someone read it or perform it, I prefer than reading it myself because poetry has a rhythm and a cadence to it, and
mm,
so I'm not sure if I'm getting it like the way the author intended it. So that's
yeah,
why I enjoy
sometimes I
it.
find when it's spoken, it carries more weight. If
It
that makes
does.
sense.
It definitely does. Especially if you have someone who, really knows, how to read poetry. Because not everyone can read poetry. You don't read it just like regular prose. It's a certain way you have to go about it.
Or I'll read it from time to time. Like I read the Iliad in high school, and
Okay.
also Beowulf, which
Oh wow. Yeah.
hopefully a wild Philip Chase doesn't appear. He'll just go off about Beowulf.
Man, I didn't read. Excuse me, the Iliad until college. So like the
Oh
fact that you had to
yeah,
read it in high
or
school. Yeah.
well, maybe not the Iliad. I think it was actually the Odyssey,
Okay.
but yes, I don't know. I'm kind of a nerd for figuring out the history of things, like the history of fantasy, history of science fiction,
Hmm.
which is why I started my show, The State of Science Fiction. Anyway,
No,
uh,
that's a great show. Yeah,
but yeah, I like the history of things. I don't know why, but I just do.
I mean that
Um,
is important to to know, and it's kind of interesting to see where certain things started, certain trends, certain ways of writing. I think
Also,
is
it,
it's
it, it
great.
I'll admit it was also for kind of a selfish reason, so I won't just be repeating authors I like. So I won't just be,
Oh yeah,
something like that. Which,
no,
yeah. But,
uh,
it's interesting how it works as well.
no. I like your because you had one with Rav recently.
I
The
did.
state of
Yeah,
science fiction. Yeah,
I did do one with Raph.
yeah. You guys are a good team.
Yeah, no, it's, it's interesting about Raph because he's always like, dude, I think I'm blackballed, man. I don't know. I just don't have those mainstream tastes. I'm like, Well, you can come on my channel. You
Yeah.
come hang out on my channel.
Oh, yeah, because I think he mentioned it because Matt on books, I think did he reach like 4,000 recently or something? And
Something I don't
three or
know.
four, yeah, something crazy. And Raph was like, "Well, I remember when we hit like 1,000 together at the same time, and now you've just gone way, way beyond." So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the sexiest YouTuber around. I mean, I talk about stuff like the Vor and Black Leopard Red Wolf. Like if some like
yeah,
casual came on my channel, I'd be like, "What the fuck is that?" You know?
yeah,
What is this?
yeah,
Now I'm
yeah.
hoping
No,
maybe I can interest some people. Be like, "Oh, he's doing stuff like," because like I don't want to come off like an edge lord, but like it's
yeah.
yeah
No,
like
but it's cool though, like because you have to find like your niche to what works for you, because no one else is doing it. So, um, it's especially Black Leopard, Red Wolf, and I was,
yeah, or Perdido
and I
Street
mean, it's great
Station.
to learn
That's
about. Yeah, I'm
American
always happy to
God.
learn about.
Like
Yeah,
literally, my
all,
favorite fantasy novel of all time is American Gods. Like who else would say that? Maybe Philip Chase would say, or well, I don't think that's his favorite. I think Malazan's his favorite fantasy of
yeah,
all time.
Malazan definitely.
But
Yeah,
like, I bet he would
yeah,
be like, oh yes, that's a a lot of people
yeah.
are like, oh, I DNF'd it for so like, which I can
Like, I
understand. I
was,
mean, it's
yeah.
I mean, I can understand. I mean, it's not for everyone, and I don't know. I like vibe books. What can I
Yeah.
say?
No,
What
I
can I
loved
say?
American Gods. Yeah, in fact, Anansi is also another who's another character who will be on my top 10 favorite like black characters in books.
Yeah, I have a Nancy
Uh,
boy, or is it a
yeah,
Nancy? I don't know, but a
nah, yeah,
Nancy
whatever.
boy's like
Yeah,
over there.
yeah,
I gotta read it. I need to read it at some point. I listened to
yeah.
some of
No,
the audiobook from Lenny Henry, and I really liked it. But what I heard, but I need to read the book.
oh yeah, yeah. I wanna like yeah, and I watched the show as well, American Gods. I thought that was pretty good too.
I thought the first
Um,
season, I thought it was
yeah,
oh my god, it's well shot. I'll give them that.
yes,
It's
the
really well
cinematography
shot.
was awesome. Yes,
And
it
the
was.
casting wasn't too bad either. I liked Ian McShane as Mr. Wednesday a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
I just loved Orlando Jones. Was that his name? Orlando Johnson? Or he played Nancy and gosh.
yeah, I mean,
So,
well, what was funny about Black Leopard Red Wolf is, when I was in school, for some reason, they decided to give us old fables from African kind of. For some reason, they decided
really?
because like, my God, black people are not always treated very nice in
Right.
a lot of countries, especially in
Yeah,
America. You
that's
know,
true.
there's there's we'll put it this way: we did the Kindred video, we discussed a little bit about it, but there's a lot of
Yes, we
racial
did.
tensions in the world. Um,
A lot. Yeah.
but again, for some reason, they're just like here's these fables about animals. There you go. Some like it's African. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I was kind of familiar with that. So you know, it's interesting because you have to be kind of like for that book to work, you have to be kind of familiar with African folklore and like
Mm,
Anansi, little bit. Now
okay.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
needed per se. I don't want to scare like I try to be careful not to scare people off because sometimes I'll mention something and I'll be like, I don't think I want to read that, and I'm like, no, I want you to read it.
No, I can get that. And Neil Gaiman is who turned me on to the whole history of that because I had no idea it was like a whole like a mythology behind that until I read American Gods, and I'm like,
I was
because
about to say, oh,
whenever I read,
he slapped
yeah,
all the mythologies together in that one.
yeah, he did, and I was like, wow, okay. Then I started, going to Google and go down your rabbit hole and learn more about it, and it's really awesome to know more about that West African, historical or mythological figures.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad because unfortunately some of it kind of got erased by the colonialized or is that the word?
Mm.
Colonializers? I don't think so.
Yeah, colonizers. I think. Yeah,
Colonizers, thank
that's what
you.
in Black Panther, according to Black Panther, colonizers. Yeah.
Yeah, there was somebody the other day who was doing the old kind of song and dance that Killmonger's based, and I'm like, guys, he was about to go around shooting people. Like, okay, guys, I know I'm white, so my opinion might not be taken very seriously.
Yeah,
But he is the bad guy of that movie. He has understandable motives, but he is still the bad guy of that movie. Like the
he
dude's
is
a
a bad guy.
murderer. He was about to fucking invade the world to. I forget exactly what he was trying, or I think he was like he had good intentions, but he's still a murderer. Like he was killing people. Like he wanted to subjugate people. If I
Yeah, he
remember right, I
was.
could be wrong.
And the crazy thing is I can relate 100% to Killmonger because I also had an African father who basically abandoned me and left my mother to take raise my American mother to raise me by herself. So like
Wow.
Killmonger is my story. And
I mean, I,
Africans
I mean, I
do
was about to say, I mean, I didn't want to, because
yeah.
you're black.
No. Yeah. So Killmonger is my story. And Africans in that movie,
Again,
it
he's
was
sympathetic.
very
I'm not saying
he's
like
sympathetic.
I'm not saying like, oh, he's just acting out for no reason. What is he going on
Oh
about?
yeah.
I'm not a
Yeah.
dickhead, but like,
No. No.
like he's a
But
great
you don't see
villain, but
me.
he's not in the right. Like, come on.
Not at all. No, no, not at all. Like but yeah, but it was interesting when I first saw that movie, and I related so much to it, be having an African father and doing like it's interesting. There's a superiority complex amongst Africans toward African Americans that people don't experience unless they have like an African and an African American parent. So it's pretty. The movie hit the nail on the head. So I had to give him props for that. And the relationship between Killmonger and Black Panther
I mean, it's a great
was
movie. I mean,
perfect.
it's one of my favorite
Yeah,
MCU movies for sure. I was it's kind of
yeah,
it's one of those kind of like Rorschach or like I don't know
right.
where
Yeah,
you're like you're not like guys. I get you can like the character, that's fine, but like when you start saying like he was in the right, I'm like okay, I gotta pump the
yeah,
brakes there. He's
yeah,
freaking murdering
yeah.
people. I mean, sure, they
Exactly.
weren't nice people, some of them, but like, come on, like he's not a good guy.
No, no, he's not. Just like kind of like V. Um, you know, great guy, great character, but I can't condone murdering people,
That's
like
a
despite the
that's an
purpose.
interesting that's an interest that's an interesting way
Yeah.
you put that.
Yeah.
No, no, but though I will note, most of the people V went after clearly had it coming. Like I'm not
I
gonna,
mean,
but he
true.
wasn't in the
Yeah.
right either.
Yeah.
Well, if you read the comic, he's kind of ambiguous. In the movie, it's more like, yeah, fight the power.
Yeah. I read the comic 2 years ago, I think. Like that was the first graphic novel I think I had ever read. It was V for Vendetta. Um, yeah, it was great though. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I mean, Alan Moore is one of my favorite writers, so I'm definitely biased there.
I mean, he is good. You
um,
can, yeah.
but it's well, what were we talking? Oh yeah, Killmonger. He's
Yeah.
not in the right.
Yeah.
Uh,
No. No. I mean,
R.I.P.
but it's good.
Chadwick Boseman. He's a great
Yeah,
actor. Seems
I
like a cool
know.
guy too.
He did. That was a big loss for like just Hollywood entertainment in general.
Mm,
Not to mention the Black Panther series.
I know. I was like, man.
Yeah, like man, and I went to see the one without him, and I thought, I mean, it was pretty good, but he was missed.
Indeed, I know. It was sad. It was sad when I heard he passed.
Yeah,
It's
and
interesting you say that about
yeah, but
your family. I don't know if you listen to a lot of rap, but I like this rapper called
oh
Earl
man,
Sweatshirt.
Oh yeah,
And he had
from
a
Odd Future.
yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently, he had
yeah.
a similar like his dad was African, his mom, and then he kind of now he's there. Great rapper though.
I
Sorry, what
didn't
we?
know that about Earls. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a huge hip hop head. Um, that's like 75% of what I listen to. Um,
Yeah, like I was in high school and oh man, I just went nuts with like rap for some reason. I don't know.
yeah. No, that's cool. No, Earl Sweatshirt. No, yeah, he's good. I like him a lot. I like him and Tyler, the Creator, and that kind of whole crew. Frank Ocean, they all came up together. Came around just around the same time. But yeah, he doesn't get enough attention, for his skill.
Also, a big Kendrick Lamar fan. There was a lot. I listened to Good Kid, Mad City, and To
Hmm.
Pimp a Butterfly were on repeat when I was in high school.
Oh, those are I mean, those are two of his best albums. So
Oh my gosh, yeah, they're fantastic.
you
Um,
could not go wrong. Like I was so mad the year he lost against Macklemore. I think. God, I was so pissed. Like at the Grammys for like rap album. I'm like, and ever since that, I've just not been a Macklemore fan ever since then. Like I cannot believe.
like his I remember that album he put out with I forget its name, but it's the one he did with Ryan Lewis
Right?
that he
Yeah.
did
Mhm.
Thrift Shop on. It's not a bad
Yes.
album, even though like he's kind of got his little shtick going. He's good.
Hmm.
I think he's a good rapper, but I don't know.
Yeah. 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 I think he's skilled, but I guess I was just like a Kendrick fan at the time, and so I just
Yeah, no, I he's been robbed a
yeah,
couple times. I'm like, man,
yeah. And even Macklemore even said that. It was like, yeah, like I can't, like I shouldn't have won. So I did respect him for that. But I think the next time they gave Kendrick like album of the year, so like they try to make up for it,
I mean, he got a
because he's
Pulitzer Prize. Like, how often you hear that? Like, my God, like
yeah,
who else like was a popular entertainer who won a Pulitzer? Bob Dylan, maybe. You know,
yeah. Really, I didn't know
crazy.
Bob Dylan won one. That's crazy. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. He's a he's an awesome artist. But yeah, I mean, I listen to all music. Um, because I just love it in general. But I do hip hop is such a huge part of my life because I grew up on it.
Mm.
But as I got older, like Linkin Park was my introduction to rock music. Um, and when it's funny, like when the lead singer passed, I come to find out apparently Linkin Park is like where a lot of black kids' introduction to rock music because they were like they blended a lot of hip hop elements in their music. So
Mm-hmm.
they're like the gateway.
I haven't listened to a
And
lot of Linkin Park, but I remember
hmm
when the lead singer passed away. Um,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And so now, I mean, sometimes I even listen to, like death metal. Like it's just depending on the mood I'm in. Yeah.
um, yeah. I also like a lot of music. Um, like I really like a lot of prog rock. So like Pink Floyd,
Yeah.
Rush. I also like the
Oh man.
Doors.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, even though Yes is kind of weird because they were like rotating a bunch of band members. It's
Yeah.
bizarre. Um,
Yeah.
I also like. I mean, I like hip hop. I mean, Ready to Die from Notorious B.I.G. is one of my
Oh
favorite
man.
albums of all time.
That is one of the greatest albums like yeah ever produced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I don't like I don't like P Diddy very much. Like I don't like Sean Combs very much, but man, they really created fire together. It was the
Yeah.
right people at the right time, and they
Yeah.
did Ready to Die, and it was great.
Yeah. One thing I do enjoy about like being in my age group is that like being there when like Biggie and Tupac and Jay Z and Nas and Eminem when all these greats were like at their peak, or in living, and witnessing their progression in hip hop, and so it was
Oh, so
quite
you were probably
quite a
alive
time,
during like the hip hop boom in like the early 2000s, right? Like when
man.
Nas and Jay Z were going at it, and Eminem.
Yes, man. You had Eminem and you had 50 Cent and Ja Rule. I mean, it was yeah, that was a great time. That was a great time in hip hop. Yeah, it was great. Like, and then being in high school, you picking your favorites, and then like I was a big Nas guy in high school, so you couldn't say anything bad about Nas around me when I was in high
I, had
school.
a, I, had a, I, had a, I had a friend in high school. His name's Ricky. Dude was
Hmm.
a huge fan of Lil Wayne, and I never it's like I don't. I mean, there's some of Lil Wayne stuff I'm fine with, but like he's just not
Hmm.
for me kind of rapper. I don't like his voice very much.
Yeah, yeah. Like he became an acquired taste for me. I didn't like him when I was like your
But
age. Mm,
but no, he my friend Ricky loved Lil Wayne, like loved him, and
really.
I was just like,
Hmm.
oh, all right.
Yeah, one of my best friends loved him when we were in school because he had his first CD and brought it around and made us listen to it, and I was like, oh, okay, if you like it, I love it, but I don't listen to it. I won't listen to it outside of when we're together, like just because you're making us. But I was very much like a New York hip hop guy. Um, it was rare I listened. Like Eminem was probably the first rapper I was a huge fan of who wasn't from New York City.
Like I wasn't a Well, I mean Drake has some good songs, but I'm not a big Drake fan either. I
Yeah,
just be like, dude, the guy's name is Aubrey. Just say that and you'll win the rap battle. Like I'm not kidding.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
I'm surprised no one's brought that up in like a diss track. Like
They
Meek
haven't.
Mill,
Yeah,
the material writes itself. Oh my gosh, like
yeah,
because I remember
yeah.
when they
That
were
is very
beefing, and
true.
I'm like, dude, that is a golden opportunity you're missing out on there. But I
I
don't know.
know they didn't bring up that. They didn't even bring up Degrassi or anything. Like I'm like he
Yeah,
has.
bring up
Yeah,
Degrassi either.
there's
It's
so
like,
much you can bring up on Drake. I mean, he's Canadian. No, no, let me stop. No, I don't want any Canadians to get me. But no,
I mean, he
no,
can
but
he can rap though. His little his diss track to Meek Mill is actually pretty good. Like I like that one.
it was like if you
Um,
get him mad, he can bring it.
yeah.
Yeah,
But like, there's some
yeah.
of them I'm not really like. There's that one where he's like, "I'm upset." Yeah, like that gets
Oh
stuck in my
yeah,
head, and I'm like, "Oh man," or like, "I'm
yeah,
away," and I'm like, "Dude,
yeah,
why?"
yeah. He is a great everyman's rapper. Like he's not the most lyrical, but he knows how to make great songs
Yeah,
that are
I'll give him that.
yeah that will get stuck in your head.
I did like the music video he did for "I'm Upset" because he got like the Degrassi people together, and like
Oh
that
man,
was
that was so cool because Degrassi that was my life at one point when I was like 17. That was my life. So when I saw all them reunited, I was the man. That was great. That was great for me.
yeah. I remember watching like an episode, and it was where the guy shoots Drake and like
Oh
paralyzes
yeah,
him. I'm like, what?
yeah, yeah. Paralyzed Jimmy. Oh, wheelchair Jimmy. Yeah, that's what they
Wheelchair
called him.
Jimmy. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, man. That
But
was
I like that
crazy.
music. Also, Jay and Silent Bob are there for some
Oh yeah,
reason.
they
I'm
show.
like, what?
That was the most random like cameo of stars. Yeah, oh man, I forgot all about that. Yeah, they sure were.
Um,
Um,
what are some other rappers I like? I mean, I like Tupac. I mean, I mean, Hit 'Em Up's a great diss track. I mean, it's one of the
oh
greatest
yeah, it
diss tracks
is.
of all time.
It is.
Though I don't know,
It is.
like when I listen to his albums, they don't get like the same like cohesiveness I did when I listened to like Ready to Die. I was like,
No, yeah,
man,
yeah.
you know.
I've always liked Biggie more than Tupac. I just thought he was a more lyrical rapper, and Biggie was funny. I thought he was comical and a great
There's one part
storyteller.
Ready to Die where it's just him banging this like lady. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, let's skip that. I mean, I'm not a prude, but I'm like, oh, let's get back to the
Yeah.
music.
Oh man, yeah, rap skits, man. Those were a thing in the '90s, like in early 2000s. Skits. That was you don't hear that on albums anymore, but like all albums had skits back in the day,
Yeah, there's also
especially those.
I also listen to New York or not New York State of Mind. That's the Billy Joel song. What is it? Illmatic. That's right. I listened to
Oh
that in
yeah,
high
well
school.
there's a song on there called New York State of Mind. So Yeah.
Which that was interesting. Um,
Yeah, I love Illmatic's probably one of my might be my favorite hip hop album of all time. Um, and I got into that later because when it came out, I was a kid, so I wasn't really listening to hardcore like rapping. My mother didn't allow rapping with curse words, so I couldn't listen to it. And this is before the internet, and I could download MP3s. So
yeah.
yeah,
No.
um,
I've listened to rappers like Lecrae, who's like a Christian rapper, and I was
oh
like,
man,
and
he's
I'm
dope.
like,
I like him.
and I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, let's see how it goes. And I listened to him on like Sway in the morning, and I was like, all
yeah,
right, this guy can rap. All right, yeah, I'll have
yeah,
to check this guy out more. I
yeah.
also
He was
like
the first.
Logic a lot.
Oh yeah, Logic. He gets clowned a lot in hip hop though,
I
but I
know,
like him.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he has skills. I like him a lot.
Like, I mean, I think the incredible true story, that like kind of space opera album he did, I thought that was a really underrated. I'm like, this is good.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
those
exactly.
first couple albums he did, what was his first one that he did? The first one he did, and like the Incredible True Story. I really like both of those.
I'm
I listened
thinking.
to
I
those a
don't.
lot in high school.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. I didn't get it to him until he did a song with Eminem. I was like, okay. I was like, oh, well,
Oh,
that
I
dude is
remember
good.
when he was first coming out. Like I
Okay.
remember. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And but he's retired, kind of, I guess now.
yeah. He's like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
retire. Never
yeah.
mind. I'm like, what?
But I think
Um, but
he's
also I'm
definitely
like, yo,
space for
artists don't retire. Get out of here, Logic. And then Logic's like, I'm coming back. What?
yeah, exactly.
I'm like,
I don't know if you
that's
ever
what I thought.
do you ever listen to Joyner Lucas?
Oh
Um,
yeah, I've listened to
yeah,
Joyner Lucas.
yeah, he's nice too. I like him a lot. Um,
Keep It 100 is one of my favorite rap songs I've heard in the last couple years.
yeah,
That song is
he
fire, as they
it is.
as the kids like to say.
Yeah, yeah, he is phenomenal. Like his concepts he come up with and the videos. I mean, he's just an all around artist. Um, and he's unsigned. He's kind of does it. He's independent, which is
Yeah, it's interesting.
impressive.
I also listened to a lot of Hobson in high school, which that's another one. He gets clowned a lot, but like Duke can rap. I
He
think
can rap.
Raw's a solid album.
Yeah, he just reminds me so much of like 1999 Eminem. Um,
Yeah, which that
yeah,
makes sense to me because he's like, yo, M's one of my favorite rappers. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense.
it makes a
When
lot
you
of
listen to
sense.
his
Yeah,
rap, you're like, yep, that
yeah,
makes sense to me.
yeah. I would like to hear him and Eminem do a song together, though. And like if Eminem adopted his old flow from back then, I think it would be cool.
Yeah, Eminem's great as well. Um,
Mm.
I'm waiting for Eminem to make that just like amazing album where I know you can do it, Eminem. I know you can make that amazing album, and you just haven't done it yet. Though, well, I guess
No,
the Marshall Mathers LP is really good, but like it's like
yeah,
he's more of like certain songs are really great aside from like an album. Like Kendrick Lamar, you remember from an album, like Good Kid, Mad City, and The
that's
Pimp a
true.
Butterfly. At least to me,
Yeah.
there's some people who might be like, yeah, no, but
No, well, I did like Eminem. I do like his first three albums. Slim Shady, MMLP, and Eminem Show. But you're right. I don't like all of them have tracks that I can skip. I don't I don't like. It's very rare a rapper comes out with the whole album and not one of the tracks I skipped. Like To Pimp a Butterfly, I don't like. I don't skip anything on there. Illmatic, I don't skip anything. Ready to Die,
I was gonna say
Reasonable
Ready
Doubt
to
by Jay
Die,
Z.
like except
Yeah,
maybe for the skits, like I don't skip a
yeah,
song on that one.
no, yeah, and I appreciate that, and and Eminem, I think some of his songs, honestly don't think they were his choice. They because he often is pretty honest about record company pressure, where you have to put a song, a few songs on there to appeal to the masses, even though it's not true to your heart as an artist. So, and I think you can tell that sometimes on his albums.
Yeah, I'll admit I didn't listen to the whole of Mr. Morale and the Oh, I can't think of it.
Oh yeah,
His
and
newest one.
Steppers or something. Yeah, no, no, yeah,
Dan is also really cohesive. I noticed. Like, I don't skip a song on that one. I listened to it a bunch when I was in high school, and it still holds up. I mean,
yeah.
it's not to like the sublime levels of like Good Kid, Mad City, or To Pimp a Butterfly, but it was really good.
No, yeah. Anything. One thing, Kendrick Lamar, he's never released a bad album. Like,
No,
al- yeah, almost all of my favorite artists, like they have at least one in their catalog where I'm like, I'm not sure what you were thinking with that one, but no, Kendrick's been on fire, since day one.
yeah, I also think there's like a lot of just great stuff he talks about in his stuff, in his music.
Yeah, he's not afraid to experiment, which I think is always important as an artist, especially as a rap artist. And he's not. His goal isn't to sell records all the time because like somebody like Drake is out all the time, so you never miss him.
Yeah, he's
You know,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
hey, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's
There's
nothing wrong. I'm not
nothing.
saying there's anything
Yeah,
wrong. I mean, go hustle. We're in a
yeah,
capitalist
exactly.
market. We gotta do what you gotta do. But
But take a break sometimes, like Beyonce. Like I would like Beyonce to take a break. Like you just did album and tours, and now you're doing country music. Like go chill out, go relax, be a mother. Come back.
your kids
Like
will be
like
like,
we
"Where were you, mom?" And it's like, "I was
exactly.
touring. I'm sorry."
Yeah, exactly. And I appreciate when artists kind of take a break because then you miss them. Like when like when Jay-Z, like when he comes out with an album, like I'm like people are going to be ready. They're going to want that because he hasn't released an album in years. If he ever does again. Um, Same like Rihanna, she's another artist you have not heard from in years. And they're like people are like waiting
You
for
know what's
something.
funny? I remember I was one day I heard one of her songs. I think it's called "Man Down," and I liked
Oh
that song.
yeah,
And I
yeah, that's
learned about it from Fox News because they were complaining about it for some reason. And I'm like, I gotta
oh
check
yeah.
this out. And I really like that song, man.
Yeah, because it's basically about her killing someone who molested her.
Pretty much,
Um,
yeah. I'm like, wow.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
whoa. Okay, buddy.
yeah, yeah. Fox News is something else.
Yeah, I won't go there, but
Yeah,
I was just for the story. I'm gonna put a
no.
stop to that.
But switching love. I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you listened to Ben Shapiro.
I have listened to him.
Yeah,
I don't
did you?
I don't. He has some pretty astoundingly bad takes though, so
He
I
does.
steer clear.
I don't know if you did. You see the video of him reciting lyrics to WAP, the Cardi B,
Oh
Megan Thee
God,
Stallion.
I don't even
Like,
like that song, and I'm like,
yeah.
dude.
Oh my
God,
gosh.
my mom, she funny story about him. Well, it has to kind of tangentially do with him, but my mom would watch my YouTube videos sometimes, and she would speed up me talking. I sounded like
Mm.
Ben Shapiro. It was.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, Mom, I sound like Ben Shapiro. What the hell? She's like, What's wrong with that? And I'm like,
He does talk really fast.
Yeah, he talks really
Um,
bad. I'm like,
yeah.
man.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's too far. I can see that though. Now you're going to maybe want to speed up your videos just for that reason.
Yeah, now all gonna be like, oh no, you do kind of sound like him. I'm like, God damn it! I should have
Oh.
shut my mouth.
Oh, but I
Well,
do have to ask you because it reminded me because someone commented on a video of yours earlier. If you will play the drums for us one day.
oh yeah, my drums back there. I will
Yeah.
say it definitely. I might do it if people talk about it enough. I might.
Mm,
You know what I might. I might do it as a short though. I don't know if I'm gonna do it as like a video. Do it maybe as like a
okay.
short.
Okay.
But I don't know if it'll be any good. But yes, I can play them. I won't say I play. I mean, I'm not a Neil Peart or John Bonham, but I can play him.
No, that's cool. Maybe you can hit up Bang is Khan because doesn't he sing and like play the guitar? I think.
Yeah, you do like
Yeah, I
yeah,
can
we'll do like covers together. Yeah,
yeah.
we'll do like Tolkien covers. Yeah,
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, it would. Hidden talents of booktubers.
yeah. No, I saw one of his videos where he was singing. I'm like, damn, dude, you got some pipes. He's like, haha,
Yeah, me
thanks.
too. I was surprised. I was like, okay, you never know. Uh, yeah, he
Well,
can
I'm
sing.
looking at your Kindred video and like look at this. Read by Kyle, Philip Chase, Matt, Brian, Josh from Red Fury Books, who I'm actually about to talk to again soon. Andrew's
Oh, cool.
Wizardly Reads, Dan, Caleb. Oh my gosh, so many people. Laura, you got Joanna here. It's like, wow, so
Yeah,
many
the
people.
people like,
That must have
like
blown you away. You were just, when you put that video up
it
and just
did. Yeah. And then I
what did you
saw
just
like
like? Did you wake up and you were like, whoa?
I was like, yo, I can't believe this. And then when I saw Josh had and tagged people, and like Joanna had tagged everyone in her Discord, and like I was like, wow, no,
Yeah,
it was
yeah. I
it
saw
was
Dan
surprising.
also did that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I'm like, all right.
yeah. I was like, I mean, I couldn't believe it, and like all the comments from the much larger booktubers who I've like been watching forever, and I'm like, mm, like when it's one thing for them to comment, but like for example, like Dr. Philip Chase said it's one of the best reviews he'd ever seen. I'm like, what? Like,
I mean, it was a good
like,
video. It was a good
I
video.
mean,
Or well, it is a
I
good
was,
video, I should say. It
I mean,
was
I appreciate
implies
it.
it, it
It
might not
was,
be
I was blown.
anymore.
Yeah, no, it was, it was blown away though. So no, it was. I mean, I'm still like, I mean, like, it's funny because I've bragged about it to other people, and they're like, okay, like, it's okay. They don't even understand because they're not on BookTube. I'm like, I'm like, okay, like, picture you're a singer, and like Alicia Keys says that's one of the greatest renditions of her song she ever heard. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
Hmm.
what I'm trying to tell you. Like, this is huge. So yeah, it's no, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that was like your, or was that like your first or second actual review on your channel?
That was like I think that's my first like single. Well, I mean, the Phil Knight book was kind of one, but I wouldn't. That was just something I did on a whim. I hadn't recently read it. It was more like a book recommendation. But yeah, that was my first book review of a book I had just read. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Wow. Yeah, I
yeah.
know. And then
So
I put up our conversation. I was like, oh man, I'm they're gonna think I'm just capitalizing on this.
no, it was a great conversation. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I had a good time. I'm like, dude, I haven't even got you on my podcast yet. What is this?
yeah.
But it was.
No, yeah, you have some great insights into it, and some things that I wouldn't even have paid attention. That's why I think it was great, like me being a black guy, you being a white dude reading it. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I thought that was great.
yeah. I'm like, I was thinking about being like, well, I mean, I guess you didn't really have to make that video because we're about to put up our conversation, and you put it up, and it blew up. I'm like, all right, I'm never gonna tell you what to do again.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't. Or actually, I
Oh,
didn't say it. I was like, you know what? I don't want to tell people what to do. You know.
yeah, and I was going back and forth with it, but I was like, I'll just go for it because it had just affected me in such a profound way that I just had to speak on it.
Yeah. No. I mean, and there's other. I mean, I don't. I'll admit, I don't seek out slavery books. I mean, I've read a
No, neither
couple
do
of them.
I. Yeah,
I mean,
neither
there's
do
some I
I.
would like to read at some point, like Beloved from Toni Morrison. That's
Yeah, I
one I would love to
heard.
read at some point. I also have. Let me grab it real quick. I also have the Book of Night Women by Marlon James, who also
Oh,
wrote Black Leopard, Red Wolf. I hope to. I don't know when I'm
okay,
gonna read this, but hopefully at
okay,
some point. Um,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll just put that right there. But yeah, so yeah,
yeah,
it's yeah. There's
yeah.
so many books, so little time. It's
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm convinced I would never complete my TBR by the time I die. I'm sure. It's just too because I keep adding and adding. I'm like Brian Bell talks about this TBR mountain. Like mine just keeps growing and growing and growing. Especially since joining BookTube, and then you get derailed because now you got buddy reads now or read alongs, and you want to be a part of the community, so you join in those.
Yeah,
So
I'm really trying to get in on the buddy reads, but it's been an interesting time. I mean, we did our buddy read, but that was kind of an
yeah,
accident.
yeah, it
I was
was. Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
but it was a good
and I
one. Like
did.
you came up with some good insights. You know, it was like, because I'll admit I was kind of like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but it'll go. It will. So it was like,
Yeah, that went really well. The only other buddy read I did before that was Children of Time buddy read over at Matt's channel. They had in January. Yeah. Um, and which Adrian Tchaikovsky I thought was I think he's a great writer.
he's another
At
guy
least
I
from
need to
Children of Time.
try. There's so many people.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
there's too many.
like
It's way too
Ursula K.
many.
Le Guin. I want to try her out at some point.
Yeah, me too. And I have a copy of The Left Hand of Darkness like somewhere on my
Or
shelf, and I have
Roger
not.
Zelazny and
Oh
Mervyn
man, yeah.
Peake and oh my gosh, so many
I
people.
need to I need to read Raymond E. Feist. I need to read Janie Words, Tad Williams. So many
Saw Janny Wirtz
fantasy.
on Tori's channel the other day. That was a really interesting conversation.
I heard I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I heard it was great.
That's another
But,
person I would love to talk to at some point. I mean, I've kind of haven't read any of her books though, so that'd be kind of awkward.
yeah, you just like well, I just find you to be an interesting person. Even though I haven't read any of your stuff yet. Let's come on,
Yeah,
come on and talk.
one of the guys I asked was a horror author by the name of Ramsey Campbell, who I'm acquainted with on Facebook. He's like,
Hmm.
well, have you read any of my books? And I'm like, not yet. I'm hoping to get to them. And he's like, all right, well, don't talk to me until you've read some of my books. And I'm like, you know what? Fine. Still haven't yet, but
I mean, I was still as an author. I mean, I was still using it as an opportunity to connect. Because you never know who will be watching.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of authors I'm hoping to have on here, but it's kind of still still in the works. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay. And Matt, in Bit of Darkness, he's had some great people on his channel as well.
Also trying to read more indie books because
Mhm.
like I got my buddy Joe Burns' book over there. I'm hoping to read. I'm hoping I could maybe read it this month. I don't know if I'm gonna get to it, but
Hmm.
I don't know when or when I'm gonna get to it. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, guys. You
Yeah, I need
heard
to
it here.
read more indie authors. Yeah.
Legend of
Like.
Blackjack. I actually talked with AR with him. I
Hmm.
think actually though, as I speak, that is the one that is going up this upcoming Monday.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Okay.
I had a blast with that guy. He's a great dude. His name's
Oh,
Andy.
cool.
We didn't we didn't even talk about we didn't even talk about the Legend of Blackjack that much. We just talked about like mutual favorite movies and stuff. With a little bit of Legend of Blackjack talk. So
I think those are the best conversations that just kind of happen organically. You realize, like you have a lot in common.
yeah, those
So
are ones I like a lot.
yeah, because you don't have to lead the discussion. It's kind of just things just happen.
Yeah, I was it was interesting. I like you were talking about it's like when we did Kindred. It's like yeah, it
Yeah,
worked out.
yeah, it worked out really well. I didn't even expect us to talk that long about it, but we found a lot of things to go into in that book. So it's yeah, it's quite
I'm
a
like we should do it again.
conversation starter. Yeah,
I also
yeah.
just recently completed In Cold Blood. I did that as a buddy read with my friend Colin, hoping we can do that on his
Oh, cool.
channel. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I need to contact him and actually see because he was telling me he finished it up or he was finishing it last night. So yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I look forward to that conversation.
Yeah, no, so there's so much going on. Like there's a lot of conversations I want to have and things I want to do. That's the fun thing about having
Yeah.
been on BookTube. I'm like, there's so much I want to do. You know?
Yeah, man, Britton, but man, you were so lucky. I wish there was booktube when I was your age. Cause I had no one to really talk about books with, and like if I was a like if I was a teenager, or young adult with booktube, oh man, it would have been a game changer.
Yeah, yeah. It would have been something. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I
But
mean, it's
all we had
interesting
was
having grown up in the age of the internet because, like, when I was young, like, that was just as, like, when VHS and, like, home phones and stuff like that was when that was just starting to go away. So, like, I remember
okay.
VHS.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny because they did a news story about like millennials like my generation, and they were saying we're so unique because we're the first generation. We're the only generation to remember what it was like before technology just kind of took over. Like we were the last generation before the internet was so ubiquitous and smartphones and everything. And so, any other generation after us doesn't know what that's like. But so it's cool. But it's funny you remember VHS because I didn't even I'm trying to. But I guess you said, but 2001, I guess early 2000s. Yeah, that's when all this started phasing out and DVDs were coming in to be like the main thing. And then now you have streaming.
Yeah, like, I remember when streaming was just starting. Yeah, it's an interesting time we're in.
Yeah. And I was listening to a podcast recently, and there was this guy saying how like streaming will be like the last medium that we'll use to produce media. He's like we went from like Betamax or like records to Betamax to DVDs to Blu-ray and blah, blah, But like there's probably nothing after streaming, and I'm like, he may be right. I've never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about that, but
yeah. So,
it's
I mean,
it's an interesting world we're in.
it's very interesting. But I appreciate streaming because otherwise we wouldn't have BookTube.
That's true. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the internet is both a great and terrible thing.
it is. It is like most technology can be at times. So, um, but it's been wonderful for me, especially connecting with so many people. Like you're in Oklahoma, I'm in Maryland.
Yeah.
It's amazing what's possible with the internet.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting, man. Like, I met people from Germany and the UK.
Hmm.
I met a American Australian guy who's hanging out in Germany.
Oh wow, that's
It's
crazy.
Matt. Like Matt.
Mm.
But it's
Oh wow, so I didn't know he was Australian. Okay,
well, he's American, but he
he's
lived in
American. Okay.
Australia, so he's got the accent.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, because
Hmm.
I do remember him talking about. I think he actually lived in Maryland at one point. 'Cause I heard him talking about Baltimore at some point, or maybe it was because he likes The Wire. I can't remember.
Yeah, he was talking about The Wire the other day, and I'm like, man, I
Yeah,
need to rewatch that.
yeah. I never watched it, even though because I heard it was everyone I've talked to is like one of their favorite shows ever.
Oh yeah, it's something, man.
In Baltimore is a rough city though. From
That
my I've
well,
been
I
there.
watched The Wire, and I'm like, you know what? I've read. Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, yeah, I've driven through there quite a few times and been there quite a few times throughout my life, and yeah, it's a different energy when you cross that line into Baltimore. Yeah, so
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do have to get dinner soon, but I've had a good time here.
oh
Um,
yeah, me too, Britton. Yeah,
this is fun. We should do this again, as I like to say.
definitely.
Whenever that will
No, we
be,
too.
I'm not against doing having people on again. Excuse me, 1 minute.
No, sure.
Get in here. Acting like you're about to die. My
I
cat.
was in. Oh yeah, I have an orange. He's an orange tabby, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's But what I was going to ask is, as I like to do before I finish these off, if you have any social media or anything like that you want to shill, feel free.
Oh sure, Kindles and Kicks on here on Twitter, Darko, um, Kindles and Kicks on Discord. And you can find me at Kindles and Kicks at yahoo.com if you want to send me an email. And and I think that is about it. Then always look for me on YouTube. I post weekly. At least I try to, as long as I'm not sick with COVID. You'll see at least a video a week from me. Appreciate you having me on, Britton.
Yeah, this was fun. Like I said, we should do it again. We should do a buddy read again. Because
Yes,
I liked our
definitely.
Kindred one.
Yeah, no, yeah, I look forward to that. Yeah,
All
we will
right.
definitely try that.
Well, until next time, as I like to say, until next time.
Till next time. All right, man.